Look at that in there. Corned beef hash, suet pudding. Whoa! Just look in there. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are doing something which is not around. It's one of my recipes. It's not online. No one's seen it on YouTube. I'm sure someone's made it before, or they will claim to have made it, but there you go. We're making a corned beef hash suet pudding. Okay, I've already chopped and diced some onions just to make it a little bit easier. We have some potatoes. Now we are going to cube up these potatoes. Fairly reasonable sized cubes actually, because these are going to be quickly pan fried with the onions. So we got about a 1 centimeter square potato there, give or take a little bit, you know. Obviously a potato is not completely square and we're not going to square it off. Now I've only got a pudding basin like this. It's all I've got in the cupboard, and that's what we're going to use. So that in there with the tin of corned beef and the onions, and we're going to mix up a little bit of gravy in there. Now we're going to cook that quite thickly, just so we've got some moisture inside our pudding. You wouldn't normally put it in a corned beef hash, but you know, it's always tasty. My goodness, we're using a new pan. A bit of oil in there. Now you can use butter, you can use anything you want, that's up to you. Flame on, onions in. Don't worry about heating up the oil, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going straight in there with my potatoes. We're not boiling these potatoes, we're not messing around. They're going straight in there, and we'll have a little bit of a quick fry on there with those onions. So we're just going to give that a little stir fry. I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper to that whilst that's cooking. Just season up that little bit, cook it in there with a little bit of seasoning. Salt and pepper, whatever you want, season away, that's up to you. I'm not salting this because the corned beef is salty. Corned beef, undo the tin, nice and steady. Now for all those people who like to put corned beef in the fridge to make it easier to come out of the tin and all that, please do so. So as you can see, we don't really need to boil the potatoes, you know. Some people boil it, cube it up, but not needed really, not for this. Take your corned beef, and we just want to mash it up a little bit. Mash it a little bit in there. It doesn't matter how you do it. We're just going to get some chunks of this corned beef in there in a minute. Now you can season this with anything you want. I'm just going to put a tiny pinch of thyme in here, because I'm going to use thyme in the pastry, so that combined there'll be enough flavour. And then we're going in there with our corned beef. In there with a dabbing of Worcester sauce. Only about a tablespoon actually. Okay, now I've mixed up some gravy granules, and I just want to put that in there. I want a thick gravy, so I'm just going to cook that in there. Let it thicken up a lot. Now what I'm aiming to do here is try and put a little charring inside there if we can. Sometimes it works really well, other times it doesn't work so well. But it's all flavour if we can caramelise or char it a little bit with that gravy. It just adds to that stickiness inside our pudding. Flame off, job done. That is perfect. There's enough moisture in there, look. That gravy's been soaked into there. All we have to do now is let that cool down while we make our pastry. I've got self-raising flour in here and I have suet. I'm going to be adding some butter in a minute. I'm just going to go in there with a good pinch of dried thyme. And what we need to do is we're going to add the butter to this, but I want to butter out this dish. So we're just going to use that same butter just to butter out that dish. And then we'll chuck the butter in there and we're going to bring it all together and make some breadcrumbs. Making our pastry. Just rub it between fingers and thumbs, lift up, give it a little rubbing. Get all that butter and suet in with that flour. So just bring it all in there, nice and steady. And then we're just going to add some cold water and bring it together. Except I'm using room temperature water actually, but that doesn't matter. Okay, bog standard water off the side and just add a little bit. Eyeball this all the way, we just want to bring it together. So we have about 2 tablespoons there at the moment, something like that. Maybe it's just a fracky more. That'll do, I reckon. Let's have a feel. That's about right, that I think. That's coming together nice. A bit crumbly, but not to worry. Oh, steam in there anyway, isn't it? Nice rub round the bowl, look. There we go. That's about got it, that'll do. So we didn't use much, we used about 2.5 tablespoons of water tops. We want a bit for a lid, and we want the rest in there, so we only want about that much for the lid. And this lot's going to go around there. That'll be about right. And all we need to do is give it a rolling out. A little bit of flour on there then. Now I don't want to put too much on for this actually. And we need to give that a little bit of a rolling. And just bring it all together. Don't be frightened of working it, you know, just squash it in. We've got a nice herby pastry going on here, look. That obviously has got to go in there, okay? Don't stress about it. If it tears or anything, patch it up. It's a suet pastry. As long as you patch it up, it'll stick together. We're going to steam it. Don't worry about it. And you don't need any of these fancy cuts and things in it like some people do, you know. They put a big cut in it. Why? Just stuff it in. Don't make such a big deal out of it. It's only pastry. Look, I'll rip that off on purpose, okay? And then we'll patch it. How's that? Okay? It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So take your pastry and then patch it up. Squash it in there. Just squash it in up against the side of our pudding basin. It doesn't matter. Honestly. So many people get stressed over making pastry and things, you know. Don't worry about it. Squash it in there. Now we do want a lip on the top, so squash it up to the top like that. Give yourself a little bit of a lip over. That's got it. Now we want a lid, roughly the right size for that thing. That will do. One side a second, and then all we're doing is daubing our corned beef hash in there. Take a spoon and just squash it in. Squash it down there like that. Take a little bit of water. You can brush it round if you want, or you can just do that. Down there. All around that pastry. Take our pastry in there. Like that. Don't worry about it being too neat or anything like that. Looks as scruffy as heck, doesn't it? Fold over. Take a little bit of greaseproof paper, something like that. Get yourself a nice little bit on there like that. Not a bad guess, was it? Get yourself some tin foil. Now you can put all those fancy pleats in there if you want, that's up to you. This thing is not going to swell up too much, so we're just going to leave that little pleat like that, and we're just going to screw the tin foil around the top. Now you can tie it with string, you can do all sorts of things. All we're trying to do now is basically just stop the water or anything going in the top of there. Now this is not going to come off in any way, you know, it's just going to sit inside the water. So we got ourselves a pan, and I've got one of these trivet things. It just keeps our bowl off the bottom of the pan. So that's going in the bottom there like that. We're going to take our pudding and we're going to put that in there, and then we're going to fill to possibly about a couple of inches or an inch under the top. Put some boiling water in there up until about just over halfway, something like that. So there you go, we've got that between 1/2 and 3/4 of the way. We're going to put a lid on, we're going to let that cook in there, boil away in there for about an hour and a quarter. It won't need any more than that. That's been about an hour and 10 minutes actually. Now hopefully that should be done. So I'll just get the steam to come away from there, and then we're going to take it out of there. Let's have that off there. Oh, that's a nice suet crust. Right, we've got to think of a way of getting that off of there. And what we're going to do is put it on a plate and reverse it. But this thing is absolutely steaming. So we're going to have to be really careful. He says. That is red hot. So I'm gonna do this. Oof. That's gonna make it easier, isn't it? It's in a bowl like that, look. Put that on there, get the bowl, done that. Take that off there. Don't get much more practical than that. Whoa, there we have it. There we have it. Look at that. Oh, that is absolutely superb. Okay, right. I've got my shovel ready to shovel it on. Do it then. Let's go for the cut. Oh, look in there. Corned beef hash suet pie made. Oh, look at that. And serve it up with some beans. That is really, really incredible. Look at that in there. Corned beef hash, suet pudding. Whoa! Just look in there. Just looky in here. Suet pastry, corned beef hash. Oh, come on. Oh, that is amazing. That really is amazing. Now I was going to put HP on there. It doesn't need it. We got homemade baked beans, superb. We got the corned beef hash suet pudding, delicious. That needs absolutely nothing. That is superb. Well, there you go, corned beef hash suet pudding made. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. We'll catch you in the next video.